He's not lying. It's a parable. In this story, there are two men. Two men that are marked by contrasts and a shocking reversal after their death. The one was rich. The one was poor. One was inside the house. The other one was outside of the house. The one had all the food he wanted. The other had no food at all. The poor man was tormented. The rich man was happy. The poor man was humiliated. The rich man was honored. The poor man needed help. The rich man didn't need help and gave none. The poor man was a nobody. The rich man was well known. The poor man sought crumbs. The rich man feasted. And there are many, many others. I had a whole list of ones, but I stopped writing it when I hit the half page. But the interesting thing was, after death, the situation was completely reversed. The rich man became poorer than the poor man ever was. And the poor man became richer than the rich man ever was. The poor man was inside of heaven. Before it was the poor man outside the gate, the rich man in his house. Now the poor man is inside of heaven while the rich man was on the outside. He was in hell. The poor man enjoyed the great heavenly feast while the rich man couldn't even get a drink of water. The poor man was satisfied. The rich man suffered. The rich man sought help. The poor man couldn't provide it. The rich man is the main character in the story. I told you when you were looking at the things to look at the stories, look at the individuals, look at what the people are, and look what they say. Well, if you notice, the poor man never speaks. He has a name, but he never talks. The rich man's the main character. The poor man he's just there to serve as a contrast with the rich guy. There's a stark contrast between these two individuals. And these contrasts can be grouped into three segments: life, death, and life after death. So it's life, death, and life after death. Life is talked about in verses 19 to 21. There was a certain rich man, which was clothed in purple and fine linen, and fared sumptuously every day. And there was a certain beggar named Lazarus, which was laid at his gate full of sores, and desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Moreover, the dogs came and licked his sores. This rich man is extremely wealthy. This guy is he's loaded. It says, a certain rich man clothed in purple and fine linen that fared sumptuously every day. The every day goes with the other part. So, in other words, with both parts. He dressed in purple and fine linen every day. Purple was, the outer garments were purple. His inner garments were fine linen. Purple dye was extracted from sea snails, and it was very, very rare and expensive. So sellers of purple, like Lydia, we see in the New Testament, made a lot of money because purple dye was expensive. This fine linen refers to the Egyptian cotton. This guy lived in splendor every day. And by the way, Egyptian cotton is still the best. You get sheets made out of Egyptian cotton. They're like so soft, it's ridiculous. He lived in splendor. This guy had it made. He had all he ever could want. This poor man says, and there was a certain beggar named Lazarus. The word that's translated beggar in the King James sometimes is translated poor. It literally meant a person of extreme poverty, a person who is, in fact, destitute. It's actually the word that's used in the book of Galatians, and it's translated in the book of Galatians as worthless. This guy had nothing. He's covered in ulcers, we're told. He said, a certain man named Lazarus was laid at the gate full of sores. He's talking about ulcerated sores that ooze. He was evidently paralyzed, because the word that's used there, he was laid at the gate, literally the word means to cast or throw down. This individual had been drugged to the gate of the rich man by someone. Maybe the person who before took care of him. Maybe by somebody who thought possibly he had a better chance to get stuff there. They literally drug him there and threw him there. It doesn't speak with kindness, by the way. It's literally he was tossed there. His name was Lazarus. Lazarus is the Greek translation of the Hebrew name Eliezer. And by the way, it means whom God helped. And it fits in the context. To the rich man in Jewish society, this guy, Lazarus, was nameless and insignificant. But Jesus gave him a name and described what he did for him. He helped him. This guy, it says, longed to be fed with crumbs. Notice in verse 21. And desiring to be fed with the crumbs which fell from the rich man's table. Back then, they didn't use silverware. They ate with their hands. Silverware is kind of a new invention. Or reasonably new. They ate with their hands. And a lot of their food had olive oil on it, so their fingers would get kind of gunky. So that what they would actually do is they would use pieces of stale bread, yesterday's bread, and they would literally wipe their fingers and their hands with bread, and they would literally throw it on the floor when they were done. That's what they did. So what they're saying is this guy is hoping that some of the stuff that gets thrown on the floor might make its way to him. It was stuff that often was cast out for the dogs to eat.